Anytime. Sure. There's a slide for it.
You are here for the member organization. I'm the current president of the 2020, I'm Nova. On the board, I'm in the 10th year on the executive board. PMI Tampa Bay. It is PMI Tampa Bay is now over.
There you go.
2,000. When I started,
Thank you.
Thank you for getting up here. I'm going to introduce William Wagner. He's going to be speaking to us tonight on the evolution of the completing projects. With the multiple project manager, leaders, and core energy leaders.
Take it away.
Take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. First thing is, again, thank you. I really feel like this is kind of like a little bit of a homecoming for me because I'm into project management. I've been in project management for a very, very long time. But what happened probably about, I'd say a year, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, is I lived through an experience that basically changed my perspective on managing projects. And what happened was I let a go live go to shit. And that was bad, and that's typically not me. I'm usually an A-type player and want to make sure everything gets done. So I did some soul searching and I landed on coaching. So I went through the professional coaching kind of credentialing, training, and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of realized through that whole process that, boy, does that really apply to real things that are going on in projects nowadays. So I'm hoping that I can impart some of that kind of stuff that I've learned through that to you guys. And if you see those sheets on the right in the end, just leave them alone. They're for exercises in a little bit. So if you already grabbed it, don't worry about it. But it's for an exercise that we're going to do here a little bit. But hopefully I can impart some of it on you so that you can have an appreciation for some of the skills that you can then acquire that will then help you in your worlds of managing projects. So with that, though, I want to at least go through a couple of definitions to make sure that we're all on the same page with regards to what we're talking about. First and foremost, who can define what a project is? Well, this is an easy one. For people that are in this room. Anybody?
A unique endeavor.
A unique endeavor. That's right. That's right. And in fact, if you go into the PMBOK, it actually tells you what it is. So you got the right temporary endeavor designed to produce a unique product, service, or result within a specific time and undertaken to meet unique goals. That's what Project Management Institute tells you in their PMBOK. What is a project? So if for those of you that already got your PMP, you passed it, right? And you know that. For those of you that did not, that's an answer to one of the questions that might be on your test. All right. So, but if you do want to look at it from a standpoint of what, instead of looking at a definition of something as what it is by a definition, but you want to look at it from a contrast to something else, you can look at it from in terms of operations. Because operations and things that are running are processes that are continuously going on. They don't have a start and end. They just have what continuously you do. You still measure those things. They still have goals and all that, but they're not defined from a unique perspective and have their start and end like projects do. All right. What's a project manager? I mean, if all the tasks are defined and everything, I mean, everybody should just do them, right? Right? Everything gets done right on time and all that fun stuff. What do you need a project manager for? No one wants to try definition? Well, I'll tell you what. What's interesting about this is that the PMBOK doesn't have anything in there about what a project manager is. There's no definition in the glossary. There's nowhere anywhere. That's right. The guy who takes the blame. That's but the idea is, oh, it's somebody that manages projects, right? So, I mean, when you really think about it, project management is really all about what is happening in the project management world and the person that has to take on the role of being responsible and accountable to making things happen, depending upon what everyone's definition of what project management is, because that's actually defined in the book. But over time, project management has changed. It's evolved. You can see in this timeline, maybe all the way back from when Henry Gantt put up the little Gantt chart, all the way through a whole variety of things. And if you're curious about who some of the pictures are and that sort of thing, I do have their names in that. So but these are a variety of different things that have evolved what project management is, how projects are being executed. And if you just even look at just the PMBOK, Project Management Institute's Bible, basically, of managing projects, you can see how it's grown, dramatically grown. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have your PMPs in here? A lot of you. Okay. Well, here, I'd like to do something just to give everybody an idea about it. Can everybody that has a PMP please stand up? All right, so for those of you that got your PMP with the 6th edition, go ahead and sit down. Okay, a lot of recent ones. All right, those are the 5th edition, go ahead and sit down. We're getting down to smaller numbers. 4th edition, you can sit down. Wow, okay, 3rd edition. You guys have been around for a while. So now, if you look at the people that are still standing, that's the one that's only got, small numbers of pages. In fact, not that I'm going to point you out, Pedro, but I'm going to point you out. So I heard earlier today in the orientation meeting that we got to the 1 million PMPs in November. So when you got your PMP, you got your number, right? That's the number that you are in that list of all the way up to 1 million, right? So there's a new digit. Well, in our midst of right here, and I keep on pointing him out because I love this guy, Pedro in the back is a 4-digit PMP. Pedro. Yeah. He was the pamphlet guy. He was the pamphlet guy. Yeah. So, but it has evolved immensely. So what's next? Where do we go? Because, project management has been around for a long time, and people have been doing projects for a long time. And if you really think about it, anything that has been accomplished that has value was done in a project. And somebody had to manage that, including things like this. Pyramids didn't just accidentally show up. No one just didn't accidentally get to the top of Mount Everest. There was a project that they had to deal with that. But it's also even down to the level of somebody planned that wedding, somebody planned that family reunion. If you graduated of anything, high school, college, and that, it was a project. It's something that you accomplished at the end. So project management, everybody's done project management at some point in time. They just don't know it. They were a project manager at some point, right? So where do we go from there, though? Where do we move to? Well, instead of just being a project manager, why not what makes a great project manager? How make a great one? What's the difference between just a project manager and a great one? What's this? The red tape. That gives it away every time, right? Yeah. Anybody else have any ideas? Consistently on time, on budget. Communication. Organization. All right, what's that?
Gets the job.
It gets the job? Yeah. There you go. Yeah. All right, so let's then think about that. And when you look out there on the internet, you'll see lots of different kinds of infographics out there that tell you, here's the skills of a good project manager, here's the characteristics of them. They don't ever talk about great project managers, though. No, not a lot of them. But there have been some of them that started showing up. And in fact, this Barbara LaVisca, she is a PMO consultant at Harvard University. She put on a presentation over at the PMI Tampa Bay Chapter, and she specifically wanted to point out, here's what a project manager that's competent at their job that you would hire that does the job well, versus here's a great one, and try to present it out there in that fashion. So we're going to look at a couple lists here. You can see right here, the good project manager does everything that a PM is supposed to do. Organizes teams, plans projects, but then you can read the rest of them for yourself. Typical project manager, if they do all those things, you hire somebody that does a good job. All right? But if you want to be a great project manager, here's the things that are beyond that. Instills confidence. If you've had a project manager that's done that, you're in the midst of a good or a great one. Meets expectations and manages the expectations. If you know you're not going to make whatever it is that we said we're going to make, manage that expectation. Set it, deliver. Set it, deliver. Might have to reset it. Right? You can see the other ones listed there too. In a basic sense, what it's actually saying is, if you're just organizing, planning, tracking, reporting, I don't mean to say just because it's not easy for everything, but if you do those things, hey, you're a good project manager. But if you do these things, inspire, motivate, manage, think and solve, communicating, if you're doing those things, you're a great project manager. And I will tell you that in the PMBOK, it's starting to articulate that kind of stuff very well. So let's go beyond that then. Let's go beyond that. Because right now, this book's about to come out for the next version, and the test's about to come out. And really what it's saying is that we're already evolved down to this point where that it's defining that great project manager, knowing how to deal with multiple projects and knowing how to actually deal with different kinds of cultures and things of that nature. So what's next? Well, maybe instead of asking what is a project manager, maybe we should be asking, what is a project leader? Leadership versus management. There's a difference there. So if we think about it, what are the characteristics of a leader, especially in the terms of projects? Maybe we have to actually just think about what makes a great leader, period. So who from history, anybody, would you consider a great leader? FDR. Martin Luther King Jr.? Is that what I heard? Lincoln. So Oprah. Well, I was hoping for people that have been passed and gone, but there are some great ones that are still around, yeah. But anyways, Lee Iacocca. There you go. So when you think about some of these things, so ranker.com, I went out to their website and they put out the list of the 100 greatest leaders. And I will tell you that from my standpoint, I pulled out 15 of them, but I did them in ranges of time. So the top row that's up there, they'll tell you that that's from like 4th century BC through 14th century. The second row is from that 15th century through the 19th century. And the last 5 on the bottom are from the 20th century. And these are some that I just picked out because I thought they were awesome. There's different kind of military leaders. There's political leaders. There's even one that can figure a bunch of stuff out and tell us all how it works because she's really smart, smarter than all the rest of us. So really cool stuff. But that's what leaders are. They're the kind of people that, and one of the things that we noticed though, that's common with all of these people is that in the world of all this change that's happening, they jump in and they deal with it. And they help everyone else deal with it too, which is very, very important. They're change masters, if you will. That's where that leadership starts to really make a difference. So thinking about that, change is happening around us. I show this chart right here from this article that Mike Lee put out that shows you how much technology has changed. When you look at it from a grand scale of years, it's spiking now. It's spiking crazy now. And when you really look at it, let's take a sliver towards where it's spiking and show that. And again, it looks like a spike again. It's amazing how technology is changing. But it's not just technology. Our population is changing dramatically. I mean, it wasn't until 1804 that we have 1 billion people. Then 123 years later, we had another billion. 33 years after that, we had another billion. It's incredible how fast it's growing. And then the people themselves, we can get farther faster than we ever have before because of our ability to do that. Right? So we can keep on going with a whole bunch of these charts that show these spikes. Communications and the available information available to us. All this kind of stuff is just amazingly, dramatically changing. So with that though, we've got to figure out like, what's the thing that's going to make the difference? And what I've learned from this whole transformation that I've begun, that I'm going through with this whole coaching thing that I've gotten myself into, is that there's 2 things in particular that I see as being aspects for leadership that are going to make a big difference, especially in the world of projects, which are 1, mindfulness. And then the other one, which is related to this change curve. If you've never seen this change curve, that's the curve that was created by some psychiatrist back in the 60s that was worried about how people cope with something that of a significant change. death of a family member and stuff like that. So she put that together, and it's been used as a definition then of how people cope. But anyways, to handle that kind of thing, it's managing your energy levels, managing when you get into different energy levels. So you got mindfulness and you got this core energy. Those two things, if you add them on top of all the other skills that we have that make us a great project manager, will give us that extra little bit. So let's explore those things. What is mindfulness? Anybody have an idea? Anybody into that stuff? Go ahead.
Meditation.
Meditation, absolutely. Yes. Staying present, absolutely. So I'll show you the definition from the leading practitioners out there. The intentional, accepting, and non-judgmental focus of one's attention on the emotions, thoughts, and sensations occurring at the present moment. So meditation helps with that, no doubt about it. You're leading me in a couple slides down the road, so that's good. No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad that you know this. That's good. So that's what mindfulness is. And if you look at it, some of the special words that are in there: focus on attention, in the present moment, intentional and accepting, and non-judgmental. That's important. It's recognizing that when you feel a certain way, it's not good or bad. Feelings are not good or bad one way or another. They are what they are. So you have to make sure you're not judgmental. And it's a lot of the thoughts. And one of a lot of things that I've been going through with all the training that I've been going through from a coaching perspective is we start to realize that all those types of things that you have, the thoughts and the emotions and what you do about it, is really all how you handle it and how you process it. So that's what's going to help you in managing people as well as managing yourself in the situations that you get into. In fact, if you look at the change curve as well, and you look at those kind of emotions that you're getting inside of a change curve, denial, fear, anger, depression, all those kind of things, it's what you do about it that matters. It's how you react to it or respond to it that matters. And in fact, the particular training program that I went through, IPEC, there's a lot of stuff about core energy levels. And this is what we call the energetic self-perception chart, which I'm going to use as a tool to tell you guys a bit about energy levels and how they play a role into how we're going to be able to become better. All right. This isn't the only tool. There's a lot of other cool tools out there, a lot of other coaching programs and things of that nature. I'm just using the one that I know the best. So the way that the model actually works inside of this is that for any situation, anything that you encounter, at that moment, you have thoughts about it. Those thoughts then drive whatever emotions that you end up having about it. Those emotions then will get you to act a certain way. And whatever actions you took will drive some sort of results. So the idea about it is, depending upon that trigger in that situation, did it make you angry? Did it make you feel like you're the victim? Or did it make you see an opportunity? Or did it make you happy? Depending upon where you stand in that spectrum, you'll probably act a little differently. Those emotions will come up and you'll do it. So it's a matter of understanding what those triggers are, understanding how you deal with them, how you think about them, and then understanding how the emotions get driving from it. And not to say that you shouldn't ever be angry or you shouldn't ever feel like the victim. That's natural. But it's what do you do about it after that? So let's keep on going then. So if you look at then this self-energetic chart right here, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of different levels. In fact, there's 7 of them. And as I mentioned, none of them are good or bad. They are just what they are. And typically, in the world of being non-judgmental, you wouldn't give them a label, right? Because labels they make us judged. But the idea is we had to name them something. Otherwise, it's hard to explain it. So that's why they have names the way they do. But they serve a purpose. They serve a purpose to understand then typical actions of people when they have those kind of emotions. So with that said, let's do a little illustration then of some people out here. So we have 2 different people Both of them are just out of college in their first career real job, and they're out there doing it. But one of them, Jim here, when he speaks, he uses words like problem and he can't, and he's like the glass half empty person. Right? And then there's Todd here, who's hey, everything's an opportunity, and he will get it done. So glass half full person, right? So if they encounter similar types of things throughout the day, how do they respond to them? So let's do a little bit of a walkthrough for Jim to show you what I mean. First things first, he wakes up because his alarm clock's ringing, and the first thing he's thinking is what a terrible night's sleep he got. He's already angry about something. He feels like the victim because he didn't get a good night's sleep, and he's angry about it, has to get up. That's just the way he is. Looks at his phone, sees 32 emails. Boom, he's still down there at that same level. He gets in the shower, and he's waiting. Like, how long do I have to wait for the shower to get warm? But then it finally does, and he gets to go in. So now he's got a little bit of extra higher levels of energy. Right? Then he gets to go in. So you can see the progression here, right? And I put enough of these kind of like examples in here to give you a feel for it.
Get absolute passion in the shower, I noticed.
There you go. Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. But the idea is that you don't ever stay at one level. You fluctuate all the time. Depending upon every situation and everything that you start to encounter, you will go all over the spectrum. It's just that where you kind of fit and you interpret things more than others, you'll find that you create a profile from it. So if we just look at like where Jim's like moved to, you can kind of get a feel for, just from this little bit of animation then, where he was moving through. So you can see that he's hanging around down there at the bottom quite a bit. He does get his chances and goes through some things that are good throughout his day. But for the most part, he takes things as being, oh, it's God, my fault again. I'm always the one. And he gets ticked off and wants to blame somebody about it, which creates that confrontation. I'm sure you guys have people like that on your teams. Or you had to live through it sometime in the past. Those people exist. Well, it's not surprising. But if you have somebody else like a Todd, let's look at Todd. He's Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky. Same kind of, we're looking at the same situations. He awakened from his alarm clock. He got into the shower. He saw he had email messages, and he was excited about those email messages, not just about a shower. And he went through the same day, but he's always thinking about this is great stuff. I got great opportunities. But look, he got upset. Something ticked him off right there.
Yeah.
So, so you get the idea that it's not good or bad. It's not that everyone doesn't get angry. Everybody gets through those emotions. The idea is that what do you do about them? How do you feel about them? And typically when you look at it, you'll get a profile. You'll get to see where you kind of reside, if you will. And if you want to get better, things to tell you about these different levels, which I should give you a little bit of feel for. The lower level energy levels, the angry and then the victim levels, that 1 and 2 level, they're what we call catabolic energies. They're the ones that suck energy out of you. They drain you so that you can't be productive. And they dwell on things. I mean, think about it. If somebody cuts you off on the highway, how long do you stay upset about it? How much road rage do you have? I mean, think about it. When somebody cuts me off, yes, I get ticked off myself too, and I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. For those of you that know me, you know that. But I get upset for that moment, and then I think to myself, whatever. Keep on going with the rest of my day. But there's some people that dwell on that stuff, chase those people down, cut them off, and back on them. Right? It's like, what are you doing, man? So, thinking then through that, I think this is one of the videos. Let me see here. Oh, no, here you. So, yeah. So in this world of change that's happening around us as much as it is, if you stay down in those lower level catabolic energy kinds of things, you'll end up getting into one of these stress loops where everything just seems to be building on you to the degree that you actually, your body, your physiology will start to deteriorate because of it. There's studies that show this stuff. If you stay angry for too long, or if you feel like you're the victim for too long, your body will start to spew out a bunch of chemicals that make you feel bad. Your health will start to deteriorate because of it. Bad stuff. So the idea is, we wish we could all follow Mickey Mouse's idea, right? Don't stress over anything you can't change. But we know that's not possible. We will stress out about something. But I will tell you this much, though, that stressing out about things really, for the most part, most of the things that you stress out about are the things that have happened in the past or things that you're worried about happening in the future. So if we go back to that definition about mindfulness again, stay in the present could get you away from stressing about something and getting into those level 1s and level 2 catabolic energies. So just to have that, think about that for a moment. But the idea is that one of the things that has been popular over the past few years, which is also in part of the PMBOK now, is the idea that your brain and your heart are kind of combined. They're connected. We just happen to call it emotional intelligence now. We put a name to it. Right? Changing your style for somebody else so that they don't have that situation that sparks and triggers them, that you don't respect me, that you don't have a value of my particular style. Those are the things that are important inside of emotional intelligence. And we also, most of us, I don't know, how many of you guys know what I'm talking about from emotional intelligence? I've gone through some sort of training of some sort. Yeah, a lot of you. So you can see that that's the same kind of stuff that you see all over the place that they're reporting about, which is true. These are the kinds of things that will help from an emotional intelligence standpoint. So I got a video. Because one of the pieces, let me see if I want to preface this or tell you about it afterward. Let's show the video, then we'll talk about it. Sorry. Have you seen this?
Like literally feel it in my head. I mean, that's very much. I don't know. Stop trying. I'm not doing that. You always do this. You always try to fix things when I really need for you to just listen. It's just sometimes it's like I don't know what it is.
If you would just
Now, for those of you, I know I see one, but there's some of you that I've worked with in the past, and I have phrases that I use, and one of them is, it's not about the nail. All right? When someone's trying to give you an answer, the reason that they're upset is not about what you think can fix it. It's not about the nail. I use that as a reference all the time, and they've seen this video, I'm sure. But the whole idea, though, is that in times of when somebody is upset, trying to fix it will just infuse the situation. So understanding emotional intelligence would tell you to do something different than that. And I would tell you that my coaching had really resonated well with it for me. And there's two particular things in particular, skills, which in my coaching thing that I've learned, I've gone through all the training, there's probably 35 different skills that we can use during a coaching session that can help somebody uncover whatever's their blocker to get them to where they're trying to, what they're trying to accomplish. Two of them that are probably the most effective right out of the gate inside of a session, which this articulated is, let me get off this video, make sure. Come on now, move forward now. There we go. And those two are acknowledge and validate. don't know if you guys have heard those terms in terms of a skill, but basically acknowledge basically tells the person that you're in a kind of discussion with that you listened to them and that you cared about what they said. And validate means that you're giving value to how they feel about it, regardless whether you agree about it or not. No one would agree that the girl should not get the nail out of her head, right? But that's not. She's upset about it. And you have to demonstrate that you care about it, that you think that she has a right to be upset about that. So to give you guys a sense, because I don't know if you guys have actually done that with your conversations and how many of you are fixers. Because let's face it, we're project managers. We want to fix it, right? We want to fix it. But you got to get past it if you want to be someone that can help your core energy and help your other people with their core energy. So those sheets of paper that are there, please grab one and pass them down. You're going to be paired up in twos. All right, paired up in twos. And what you have on one side of the sheet is one side of the sheet is an explanation of what you would say if you were venting. If you have something to vent about right now, if you're ticked off about something right now, it's been Roman, and you haven't even heard half of what I've said because you're still ticked off that someone cut you off in the highway, whatever it is, you can say that. If you don't have something to say, there's 2 examples on that sheet. Use one. Because really what you just want to do is give the other person the opportunity to do what's on the other side, which is to take notes, make sense, listen to what they said. Listen to what they said. And then afterwards, acknowledge, let me see if I heard you right. Say what it is, what they just said. You can reflect it in a paraphrased way. Don't make up words that they didn't say. Paraphrase it or reflect it best you can. And then tell them, you have every right to feel that way, or whatever other phrase that's down there. I want you guys to experience this because this is something I never really did it a lot. I got 4 grown adult kids, and they all still like me. All right, so we have great relationships. But I tell you what, this tool, I've been using it ever since I went through this coaching training. Man, now they tell me all about a bunch of stuff that I never heard about all this stuff. They probably thought that was a fixture. They don't want to be fixed. They just want to be listened to and told that they have every right to feel that way. That is hard. Man, they love me. They think I have all the answers now. It's amazing. So this is what I want you to do. You got 3 minutes. I want one of you to decide you're this first person that's going to vent, and the other person acknowledge and validate, and switch it around. And you vent on something, and then they acknowledge and validate. Does everybody understand what I'm asking for? Does anybody not understand what I'm asking for? Anyone? So everybody knows? Everybody understands? You got a pair? Where'd Len go?
Over there waiting for.
Oh, I'm about to say, where'd you go?
Len, I need to.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's skipping out when he has to be over here for acknowledge and validate. All right, go ahead and start. Hopefully you bring him back in then, right? We'll talk after. How's everybody doing? You guys get through it? You guys get through it? Get through it? Did you through it? Excellent. Okay, I got still here. How we doing? We good? We good? All right. Wow, that worked. Good. Anybody have any thoughts about it? Did it feel different? But think it was cool? Felt good? Felt good? Felt patronizing a little bit. See, that's understandable. That's understandable. Yes. Yes.
Than men, because women are just immediately like putting ourselves in someone else.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you.
As far as inherent.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that, when you think about it, if you want to get good at it, practice. Practice. As important you think this is to be good is how much time you'll put in practicing. Practice. That's right.
And it's extremely easy to try fix things.
That's right.
This is what we can do to resolve your an opportunity to resolve your issue.
Yes, absolutely. That's awesome.
It's real easy to do that rather than you just want to vent.
That's right. That's right. Very cool. Do you have something?
Yes, I mean, I call it empathy, right? You learn to empathize with someone.
Mm-hmm.
But what I struggle with is when do I break out of the empathetic,
No, that's great. That's great.
And transition, because I don't want to get caught into their funk.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes people are in that funk, think I'm too positive, think I'm too.
You're absolutely right.
Everything around, and they're not ready to turn around. So I've been practicing like,
very good.
how long?
No, that's
empathize and feel their frustration, and I try to find these opportunities to turn around. And sometimes I fail. It's bad timing.
You have every right to feel that way.
That's right. So let me first address that. Let me first address that. That's one of the reasons why it's that phrase. You have every right. You're not necessarily saying I agree with you.
Right.
It's you can feel the way you feel because that's what you feel. But that's a good point. And what this is really doing, what acknowledge and validating does in a coaching session world, is it's basically releasing that catabolic energy. You want to get them out of the victim. If they still keep on telling you victim stuff and you keep on telling them, acknowledge and validating, at some point in time, they're going to run out. Because they're going to feel, someone agrees with me finally. Someone finally agrees with me. And they're going to shift to what's that third level they're going to start getting out of catabolic. That's when you start to play into now I can go to the next technique or tool to be able to help them get there. You're right on target.
Stay there when they keep complaining. Stay with them.
Make sure that they have their feelings validated, because their feelings will. Yeah, don't give them that. That would be patronizing at this point.
Yeah, but what happens if you turn into that person that a new person constantly comes every time they want to feel validated? It's like you got a project to manage. You don't want.
That's right. Listen, I'm not telling you that this technique and these tools or any of those things that I'm going through, that I've lived through through this transformation, are going to be the panacea to creating the solution for all things. That's not the way it is. It's knowing how to use them and use them effectively, and then recognizing yourself, because when they're not in that funk, you teach them about their own energy. You teach them about how to deal with their own energy. So once they start to recognize that there's triggers that got them there, that's what you're trying to figure out eventually is what those triggers were that got them there and have them think about them differently. So it doesn't drive that emotion. It drives a different emotion next time. Those are the things that you have to think about. Yes, ma'am.
What if there's a time constraint? I'm not sure
No, that's.
time is money. I have to get on a call. I have to talk to a customer.
That's right.
I don't have time to keep saying you have every right to feel it. And
Well,
I think it kind of ties into what she's saying. How long do we stay there? We just don't.
It might be. Well, I will tell you. I will tell you as well that this isn't going to become the training for what can be.
Right.
This right here is not going to. I'm not going to have all the answers to it. Those questions you're doing are exactly where it could be, though. This could be a continuation for lots of other conversations beyond this session. This session was designed to be an introduction. All right. And I'm getting you there. And I love the fact that you guys are now interested in it, you know, but we're not going to get there. We're not going to get to session 14 or module 14. But before we go on any farther, I want to make sure I get a groupie picture because that's my thing. So that way I can see. So wave, everybody. Cool. Thank you. All right. So appreciate all the feedback. I'm glad that you guys thought this was, I think you guys thought it was interesting, at least helpful. All right, cool. No. But I will tell you this much. I got another video. Let's get to the next one. Yeah, I can't do it. All right. So again, the same theme. I will tell you that Disney, man, if you pay attention to those movies, there are so many good nuggets of real cool wisdom out there. It's really cool stuff. And I know I've used them for years with my kids. And like I said, I have grown adult kids now. And so now they're teaching their kids, my grandkids, through these Disney movies too. So they'll go fast forward right to the section and push play and then tell them all about why that's important. The kids are like, what? I want to see the whole movie. What? Okay, what happens after that? Why? Don't stop it. But I love that because it really is. I mean, that's the definition of mindfulness right there, right? But it sounds really cool when you're a turtle and really old and wise like that. That's really cool. So very Yoda-esque. That's right. All right. Let me see if I can go forward. All right. So really the key is the choice that you have when you do encounter something. You have a choice at that point. And really the choice that you have in a lot of times of getting into catabolic energy or anabolic energy is deciding whether you want to react or respond. If you react, if you don't keep control and you don't control that mind and that thought about it, and you start taking actions because your emotions got you somewhere, you're not in control. The situation's in control. You're reacting. But if you do stay under control, if you do control your emotions based upon the thoughts that you have or change your thoughts, you'll be responding, which is much more productive, much more effective. That's what about core energy management's all about. Controlling, doing it yourself, but also helping other people recognize their triggers. Don't tell them what's happening. No one wants to be told what they can do better when they're living that kind of experience. But it's after you get them out of that mode. That's when you can give them that little nugget. And show them that cool video from that movie, because that's really cool. All right. So when we go all the way back then to that slide that was about what mindfulness is, you still see all those same words that we're talking about, right? Hello. All right. But I will tell you this much. I got another video for you. Hopefully you can hear this one better. I think it is louder. But so when I got into all this kind of stuff, I started looking for other particular types of videos that would help me explain this to other people, because I think I do an all right job of explaining stuff, but these some really cool videos out there. So might as well let them explain it, because they did a great job. In fact, I actually thought this video, when I first saw it, I thought I went back in time and actually created it myself and thought this is exactly how I would explain it. So I don't think that's the case, but it sure does feel that way. So let me get this. Oh, sorry.
We have heard this word mindfulness become something of a buzz phrase of late. So I'm going to give you one simple, serviceable definition. Here's this. Mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at a given moment without being carried away by it. Imagine how useful this is. Just as an example, driving down the road and somebody cuts you off in traffic. How do you normally react? I think most of us normally react. Flexibly inhabit that thought. You actually become this. There's no buffer between the stimulus and your reaction. Just a little bit of mindfulness. In that same situation, you might notice my chest moving red, and a starburst of self-righteous thought. You don't necessarily have to act on it and chase that person down the road, screaming at them with your kids in the back of the car. Now, you might be thinking, I need to get angry sometimes. I think yes, but probably not as much as you think. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition is that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen, rather than just reacting blindly. That, my friend, is a superpower. How do you get it? The way to get it is through meditation. I believe that meditation and mindfulness are the next big public health revolution. In 1940, if you told somebody you were going running, they would have said, "Who's chasing you?" But then what happened next? The scientists swooped in, they showed that physical exercise is really good for you, and now all of us do it, and if we don't, we feel guilty about it. And that's where I think we're headed with mindfulness and meditation. It's going to pantheon of no-brainers like brushing your teeth, eating well, and taking the meds. Let me just close by saying, mindfulness is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to render your life a rainbow. Nonetheless, this is a superpower, and one that is accessible by you.
So it looks like a video I'd create, right? That's what I thought. But no, it was very good though, in the sense where it's talking about this meditation as being a means to getting to mindfulness, and I do agree with it. How many of you guys meditate now? Do any of you? You do? Very cool. Very cool. As I was going through this journey for all of the coaching stuff that I did, I became more and more aware of the different kinds of meditation and different kind of energies and the different frequencies you can listen to while you're meditating. All this stuff it's amazing stuff out there. And I tell you what, I even started using CBD for my skin cream, and it's amazing. That stuff's super cool too. So I mean, I'm all over the place now, but really weird. But very cool. Let me get past this video now. But there are other different kind of relaxation techniques. I do recommend going out on TED Talk. There's a lot of TED Talks with people putting on these kinds of descriptions. The breathing thing. If you have any trouble sleeping, watch the breathing. There's a TED Talk about breathing exercises when you do something before you get up to speak, before you go to sleep. The frequencies and the length of time and how long you breathe and how fast you breathe changes your body physiology and then your brain and tells it what to do. That's mind hacking, if you will, they call it. Cool stuff out there. So, and if you're looking for direction on where to go and get those kinds of things, I'll let you know. Just let me know. But a lot of other types of things that you can do to get yourself back to relaxation. Again, starting to understand your thoughts, understand those emotions that are striving through. All right. So, I guess if anything, the way I'm looking at it is that from a project management perspective, we're actually being a leader, a project leader, and then actually being mindful in that and managing your core energy. If you want to get to that level, you gotta do it. You gotta lead by example. You gotta do it. You gotta manage that core energy yourself. Then you can actually preach to others. If you're not meditating, start meditating. I swear to you, it's going to help you. If you do start meditating and it doesn't help you, you can come back and punch me in the gut, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So, and then if you're not being coached today, and I'm not saying that you have to be coached. Some people self-coach very well. In fact, there's TED Talks about that too. But if you do want someone to help you go through it, and they are a professional coach, I put up the International Coach Federation because that's the governing credentialing organization. So it's like Project Management Institute for PMP. ICF is for the coaching industry. And they're people that are certified, are people that have gone through some sort of program that understands how to guide somebody to become aware themselves. Coaches don't do it for you. They just make you aware of what you can do yourself. Be the best version of yourself. And then also start to practice emotional intelligence and expect others around you to practice emotional intelligence. All right. So with that, I open it up for any other questions that you may have. Not all at once, please. Go ahead. I do.
Good.
Well, I'm going to the Space Coast next month. I know that. Okay. Great. Yes. Very cool. Yeah.
Meditation on your leadership opportunity?
Well, with the meditation itself is really designed to bring yourself back to a mindful position. So you're very aware of your feelings and of the things that are triggering you. So if you reflect on them and start to really focus on what those things were, you start to actually get a better understanding of how to not let them take you where you don't want to be. I mean, if you want to be angry because you're an angry person, I guess you can lead yourself there, but I will tell you it will drain you and not give you ability to focus on things that matter. If you don't want to be angry and you want to be more thoughtful, like the opportunistic view of things, meditate about it, think about those situations you lived through that got you there, and hopefully whatever else will get you there. Because a lot of times the talking that you're happening when you're actually thinking about your breathing and all the other things that are at that moment will help you understand it better. Yes, sir. Back there. Managing my own leadership? Well, I would say to you that all the stuff that I was just talking about in general will help either individuals or organization teams themselves. So a lot of the team building activities and You'll find that coaching practices that people have out there, there's one-on-one sessions, but there's also group sessions, which in a world of project managers and a PMO, they all have very similar symptoms of things that they're living through and situations that drive and trigger very similar to one another. All the project managers live through similar types of triggers, if you will. So it's the coping of those particular things and understanding how you should think of them. So it's group therapy there, but it's also one-on-one to understand that this is what you could do for it. I don't know if I'm answering your question because you're shaking your head, so I don't. Yeah,
not taking the time to do what they should be doing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that some of the things that I've talked about and that I'm myself am focused on is more around the idea of the how to become better working with one another kind of stuff. I think I hear what you're talking about from a standpoint of overall kinds of making project management or leadership effectively working together more, in a more positive way. I don't know if what I'm talking about, those aspects that I'm talking about, are necessarily the right answer for that. There might be other aspects of how to deal with that kind of thing than what I'm talking about. But I know that this could give people the understanding of what's triggering a project manager to get to lose their ability to be as productive and effective and the best version of themselves because of some of the things that leadership's doing to them or how they're encountering them, those situations. So that might be where I'm focused on. I don't know if I answered your question, but if anything, maybe we talk afterwards a little bit. Yes, sir. Good to see you.
I have a little bit of a problem with
Okay.
and I'll tell you why. I think the perception of being judged, it's unfortunate that the whole concept of judging someone doesn't mean you have to be a jerk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you do have to, as a manager or a leader, you do have to judge and say, you know what, this is not good. Here's why. So you have to be able to do it without making it a personal attack, but showing the person that the direction you're going in is not good for you or for the team effort.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I'd like to be told that I'm not doing well early on, so that I can correct my approach.
Yeah. So let me make sure that I reflect back to you what I think I heard you say. The judgmental aspects that you're talking about are related to maybe a certain kind of behavior that may not be productive in nature. It might be disruptive. It may be something that's not helping the team achieve their goal. So because of the result that's happening there and the actions that person's taking, that's the stuff that you want to eliminate. Where I'm thinking the non-judgmental part comes from is why they're doing those actions are some sort of thoughts and emotions that are driving them there. Those are the things I don't want to be judgmental on. I don't want to be judgmental why they're getting angry about it. It's when they manifest the anger and they start lashing out at team members. That part's bad. That is bad. Their actions they're taking are not productive. But it's the non-judgmental comes that they became angry. They have every right to be angry. They have every right to be angry. But it's not, it's the actions. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the lashing out part, but maybe there is. If you're in a world that exists and is productive, I guess so. But
leave your work front floor. In other words,
listen, I would suggest to you that lashing out at my family or lashing out at my coworkers, neither one's going to be productive. It's not going to be productive. So I guess we can disagree with whether lashing out is productive or not, or whatever the actions are. Some actions may be acceptable in certain areas that would maybe not be acceptable in other areas. But my point is that the non-judgmental part is really on the thoughts and emotions portion of the cycle. Actions can be judged. It's the thoughts and emotions that should not be judged. You're being triggered by something. It might be because they grew up with a dad that used to yell at him all the time. So when the boss yells, he gets really upset about it. It's a trigger. The thought process drove the emotion. Now, what do they do about that? They totally ignore the manager that's barking at them, even though the manager was trying to help them. Now, the emotional intelligence would tell that manager should not bark because it drives those things. I'm just telling you that there's certain ways of looking at it, but the non-judgmental is really focused on the thoughts and the emotions portion. They have every right to be upset. We don't know what their past is driving them to do. Does that make sense what I'm trying to impart? Yes.
Doesn't this feed into the whole nature of a work environment and culture?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Did you have something?
Do you have any good recommendations for like mindfulness or any of the?
You know, yeah. I'm a big audiobook. I live in St. Pete Beach and I work in Tampa, so I listen to audiobooks all the time. And so there's a few of them out there that I can recommend to you. Yeah, I can't think of them offhand because I'm listening to so much stuff. Did you have something back there again? No, Len, did you have something? Oh, we got some over here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's the best soft skill that you picked up in your leadership?
My coaching. Oh, wow. I think that keeping space is the one that I probably think I've learned the best about. Don't worry about saying something after you ask a nice, powerful question. If you ask a powerful question, is that serving you, or how is that serving you? Or something along the lines that you're trying to get them to really explore why they are acting or why they think the way they are or why their emotions driving them that way. Shut up and listen. Wait. They're going to say something eventually. My problem was I want to talk. Don't talk. Give them space. Let them come back with something. That's been probably the biggest one I've really learned from. Do you have something? Nice. Very cool. I hear you. Yeah. Very cool. Yes, sir. Oh, podcasts. You know, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't. I'm sure there's a bunch out there that are really in the same exact area and venue, but I know I don't subscribe to them. Are we getting close? Is that why you're putting the code on? We're getting close. So we got last two questions or comments.
Really kind of a brief comment. A lot of audiobooks for free on Audible.
Nice.
That are on mindful meditation.
Very cool.
Meditation for dummies on there. Ones related to those topics.
Very cool. Last one.
And it does everything he's talking about, right?
Nice.
Puts it in language. Really just cuts right to the core.
Very cool. Very cool. I know you were like, you wanted something.
I was also looking at coaching for a while, and I found that book called Coaching Questions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It turns out it's just a book on questions.
Powerful questions. Powerful questions.
Open-ended questions that you can actually
So my last parting thing then to just mention to you is that I'm starting a movement. So I think this is important. What I'm talking about right now is important in this field. So I got the URL or the domain name. I created a Facebook page and I got a LinkedIn group. There's pretty much nothing out there now. I'm starting it right now. So I'm going to start building content. If you have things that think you should be in it, throw them out there for me or send them to me and I'll put them out there. Because this is a movement I think is important. So I'm going to speak at all these PMI chapters all over the place because I think this is very important. Hopefully you guys gained something from this. I appreciate your time. If you do want to keep in contact with me in that, I got some sheets of paper or we can just do the LinkedIn thing real quick right there and then. Otherwise, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you very much.
Absolutely, man.
This